Welcome back, guitar dudes and gals. Today we are at another guitar study video, specifically Plini's Cascade Part 2. If you haven't seen Part 1 of the series of Plini's Cascade, I'll link it down in the description below. I've had plenty of comments asking me if I can continue doing further sections or rhythms. That's exactly what I will be doing for this song. Now, I've been a little bit under the weather lately, so if you hear some of these, I do apologize, and I will make sure that you don't hear it in the video because I know it can be very annoying to get that sniffle sound. Some people really dislike that. Anyways, remember, we're playing at a lower tuning here. Tuning is also in the description below, and of course timestamps to the structure of this video also down below. Tabs, parts, go check it out if you want to jump through the video. The section of the song we're looking at is the riff that starts at around 1 minute 17 seconds. It's a pretty gnarly riff, if you ask me. Before we begin with exercise 1, we have to start off with a little chord. Right before the riff, there's this part. I'll just tell you really quickly what that is, what I'm playing there. That's 5-5 on the two lower strings, skipping the D string, and then going to the G string 4. So that's 5-5-4. Ba-da-ba-ba. So that's what we're playing right before the riff starts, kind of like a little setting up for the actual action. Starting off with part 1, tabs on screen. If you ask me, that's actually the hardest part of this whole riff. Let's break it down first. We have 12 on the E, 8 on the A, 10 on the D, 12 on the G. So we have this pattern. It's a little sweep actually. The best way you can play that is sweeping. You can't really alternate pick it that quickly. From there, we're gonna slide to 14 on the G string. And then we're sweeping back up 12 and 10. After that, we're going to move from that sweep. We're bouncing to the B string, 13, 12, pull off. Then we're going to the G again, 14, 12, pull off. So far we have this. And remember, you're palm muting the lower strings to get that more tighter sound. From here we have a shift to 10 and 9 on the D string. And that's a little bit of a jump. Take a look. So that can actually be a little awkward, that transition. You want to really go to it quickly or else you won't catch it in time and you'll lose the tempo with the song. And 10-9 on the D string is also muted. And then we have 9-10-9, and that's a really quick little hammer-on pull-off. And then 12-10-12, slide away. That would be like this. The tricky part there is the sweep, the jump from 14-12 to 10-8. It's a little bit awkward with the fingers. And then you have to really hammer on pull off really quickly. It's all about keeping up with the tempo before going into the chunky parts of the lower end of the riff. And now we're moving along to part 2. After we're ending from exercise 1, going into exercise 2, we end on 12, sliding away. And then we start the chunky part of the riff, which goes like this. We're starting off on 0 on the E string, hammer on pull off 3-7. And then we move to A, 5, pull off 0, Then we skip the D string and we go to G. We pick open note 0, hammer on pull off 4, 5, pull off 4, pull off 0 again. So far we have this. Very well. After that we go to 5 on the D, pull off to 3, and then pull off to open string 0. And then we go to the E string, the lowest string, 0, hammer on 5. There's actually not a lot of picking going on this hand. It's all about the fluidity of hitting those notes, hammer-ons and pull-offs with a swift motion. From there, we move upwards on the fret to 12 on the high E, and it's all legato from here. Pick 12, pull off 8, go to 10, 12, back to 10, back to 8, and then 10 on the B string, pull off to 8. Now you could probably pick both strings, or you can just only pick on the high E and then just hammer on, pull off on the B. They both work to good effect. Oh, I actually forgot something. Before going to the high E, we actually have these two notes here. So we're going from 0 to 5. And that note is on the B string 8, and you want to have those pauses, those silent pauses in between. So what you also could do if you want to is play it along with the 5 on the D string. This guitar section in the song is harmonized, so I'm only playing one side of the harmony, but if you want for that specific guitar part, you could just play 5, skip, and then B. So 0, 5, 8 twice, and then scratch that, right? Scratch it for that added little effect. And that would be ending the whole section, exercise 2. Things to take note is you're playing a lot of open strings, so there are chances that things are going to ring a lot and it's not going to sound pleasant. So what you want to do is with your right hand, take a look. As I'm picking, I've actually shifted my palm downwards to mute the 0, 3, 7, 5, 0 that I just played. Because if I don't do that, they're just going to ring out. See the difference? So use your palm as you're playing to mute those lower strings, open notes, and then when you get back up, you're muting the higher strings then with your left hand. So the muting, very important. Nice little legato. Remember the pauses between the 8 and the 0, 5. And that encompasses then exercise 2. We're moving it along to exercise number 3. From there, from the little legato, we have this part. Here we're going down to the lower strings, so starting at the low E, 8. We're bending it slightly, and then we're going to 7 on the D. Pick it again, go to the 10 on the A, pick back on the 8, then we're moving to 5, which we're also bending a little bit, 8 on the A, back on the 5, and then move up to the D, 5, back to the low, and then we have this little run, which we're starting at the A string, 3, 2, 5, 3, 2, 0, 3, 2, 0. So we have the little bends at the beginning, and then we have the little run at the end. and that's also the lower strings are muted. That would be exercise 3. Nothing too fancy going on there. Remember to bend it slightly. Don't exaggerate the bend, and also do it slowly, not too fast. That's a little too fast. More slowly. It's like you're dragging it a bit. Yeah, it sounds a little silly, but it helps. Then we have part 4, and in part 4 not much has changed. There are a couple of differences, but we're basically repeating part 2 entirely except for the beginning. So take a look at the tabs for those small changes. So this is how the slight change goes. See if you notice the difference. That's the difference. And part 2, exercise 2, it was like this. And now we have this instead. And that would be 0, hammer on 3, 0 on D, open string, hammer on 3, 7, and then we hit 5 on the A string, pull off, open note, 0. And from there it's identical. Remember, at the beginning, with the variation, 0, 3, you also have a very short pause. So it's not like that's not what you want to do. No, you want to just hit it and pause. Okay, now we're going to move on to exercise 5. That will be the last bit. The last part, we're repeating the heavy chunky bits. Nothing has changed there except for how it ends, the tail end of the riff. Instead of doing, we're doing this. 0, 2, 3, 2 on the A string, 3 on the A string, and then 3 bending it nice and slow. And it's also palm muted. Only the lower strings. And that would be finishing off everything, really. Thanks again for watching and tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful and that you could learn some of these riffs. I'd like to know if you want me to maybe just deconstruct the whole song, leads and rhythm. Remember, the journey here is to demystify our favorite musicians' way of playing, their style, their creative ideas that they put into their guitar work, so that you can, first of all, emulate it yourself, and then mold it into your own style, into your own personality as a guitar player. If you have any questions or any thoughts, please leave them in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, and for future content, be sure to stick around by hitting the subscribe button. And I'll see you all again next time on another video, possibly part 3.